my sewing friends. This is Friday Sews.
Woohoo!
I'm Jen, and this is my sewing room, and today is Friday when we talk about sewing and life and comments and questions and all the things. And I want to dive right into the sewing and tell you about this dress that I am completely enamored with. I love it. And I didn't think I would, but I had almost finished it last week, and I told you about it then. It is New Look 6616. And I made the dress. There's also a jumpsuit here, and I love this bias detail where you have straps connecting the front bodice to the back bodice, and this bias is made so that it stops at this underarm side seam. And that is so helpful. And for the first time in a long time, I serged each side of the seam and then pressed it open. And then I took my serger tails and threaded them back in, which you're supposed to do at the end of a seam like that, but I just hadn't done it. And my goodness, how much of a pain it was to try and find a needle big enough to thread all those threads through. It was a pain, but I love the look of it. Well, I thought that I was okay, but there was gaping going on right through here, and that was a problem. So what I thought was going to fix it was simply to remove some of this side seam, not very far down, and pull this front bodice this way and match it up with the side seam again, but take a bigger seam allowance, like pull about an inch out of the front and then sew up the side again. And I did that, but it didn't work because it was still gaping. And a couple of you noticed that last week when I showed you the dress. Well, I decided, okay, let's fix this. And then I decided to go in and pinch out a couple of darts. So I have darts here and here coming out of this armhole. And I also couldn't leave it at that. I just pinched it and stitched them to see if they were gonna work. And they did, they worked great. But there was a bit of a jog where the binding was not matching up. And I hadn't cut it or anything, I just pinched it. So I thought, all right, why am I like this? But I don't know, I wanted it to look finished and right and not like somebody just pinched a dart in there and then sewed right over top of it. So I didn't want to do that. So I removed the binding between the side seam and right here on the front, pinched out the dart, replaced the binding, sewed it up again, and it was all good. And I put it on to leave for dinner last night and realized it was still a little bit, I don't know, loose through here. So I ran back in here, turned on the sewing machine again, and took it in a little more under the arm, and I'm much happier with it. It's totally okay, and now I just am completely in love with this dress. It has pockets. The fabric is fabric that was given to me by Carol at Sew Carol, and so win! Love it when I have a win. Now, this other thing I made this past week is McCall's 9504. This is one of those It's So Simple McCall's patterns, and I made the little dress, which has spaghetti straps. It has a wrap front. It has princess seams in the front, not in the back, and an elastic waist. And I made it out of this yellow pinstripe poplin, which I think is adorable. It calls for a facing that's about 2 inches wide to go all along here and then down around and then back down this way again. And the back is also wrapped. Well, I didn't want to do that. Of course I didn't, because I like to line things. I don't like facings in that case. And I didn't want to do bias binding, so no, I just lined it. So that was fine. The thing about this is that you have a wrapped open bodice that's kind of bloused out a little bit because this has an elastic waistline, and you make the casing in such a way that you take a 1-inch seam allowance between where you attach the skirt and the bodice together, and then you finish the top edge of that, and that's your seam, that's your casing for the 1-inch elastic. It looks awful. It is so bulky in there. And so I decided I would take out the elastic and I'm going to go back in and I'm going to take a regular seam allowance, but then I'm going to cover it with bias tape and make the casing out of that rather than mess around with all that bulk, because it was just too much. And the other thing about this elastic thing, I'm not sure about this. I may end up passing this along to one of my daughters, because I don't know how I feel about a wrap bodice that's not secure in some way and it blousing out. When I tried it on, it was really bloused out here, and it just makes it look all kind of, like a little too open for my taste. So I don't know. It's a little young looking anyway, so, but man, it's so cute. Cute little sundress. And the skirt is more straight up and down than I thought it was going to be. So I know a couple of girls that it would look fabulous on. Okay, so moving on. I'm also getting ready to cut out Butterick 6775, which is a pattern I recently got at the Butterick sale at Joann's. And this has a sundress, which is view B, and it has this really interesting back detail. Well, I'm going to cut it out of this gorgeous batik that I have. It's like a paisley, and I just love this. And I think it's going to be really beautiful. And one last sewing thing I want to tell you about is a video that I saw this morning from Shaeffer on couture sewing techniques. And she only lists about maybe 7 or 8. But there were a couple that really caught my eye. And, as a home sewer, I'm not going to use most of those. But it's nice to know what they are in case I ever want to do something a little more finished, a little more, a little extra in an outfit. Let me also say, Shaeffer, the reason I know about her is because I have 2 of her books. This one is the Fabric Sewing Guide, which is the Google of sewing, essentially. And also Couture Sewing Techniques, which she also wrote and was published by Threads magazine. This woman is just the absolute wealth of anything you want to know about couture sewing. She has done several videos where she's reviewed fashion exhibitions. So I will link that video up here and also in the description. You can check it out. Time to move on to life, which also has to do with sewing. Last weekend, my BFF Trish was here. Oh, it was wonderful. We had the best weekend. And one of the things we did was go thrifting. And so I found some fabrics and she found a couple of things. And then we went to the farmer's market and got exotic vegetables for us. They weren't green beans or corn or, that kind of stuff, Brussels sprouts. No, it was fancy stuff. And so we did that. And then on Sunday, we walked on the beach and had lunch at a soda shop, and then kind of walked up and down the avenue and shopped a little bit. It was really fun. Well, let me show you the fabric I got. I got 4 yards of this denim. Now, Trish found this and then decided she didn't want it, but I love this kind of denim. It's just a stripe. I don't know, I think this might be called a ticking stripe, although I'm not entirely sure. I think it might. And so because I had 4 yards, I brought it home and I gave half of it to her. And so I think this will make a very cute little runaround denim skirt, or a cute pair of shorts, or even some capris. I am undecided, but I have it here. It's been washed and put away, so I won't toss it for that reason, but no, maybe I will toss it. Yeah, let's just do that. And then, you are not going to believe this. Seriously. First of all, let me tell you, this was $5.99 for the entire piece. It is silk shantung with the original tag from the place that it came from in Thailand, where it was hand woven. And I don't know, it might be bengaline, but I think it's shantung. And it is this unbelievably gorgeous color. I had to get it because 6 yards, $6. This, it's, I can't, see? Christmas Christmas skirt, Christmas dress, Christmas. Oh my goodness. This is just divine. It is just that beautiful. It's fairly, not very drapey, but oh, it's silk. It's silk. I couldn't believe it. Oh, amazing. And then when I got home, I got the mail and something was here from England. And so I had no idea what it was. I thought, did Carol send me something? Did Adam send me something? Because we're all sending each other stuff all the time. When I opened it, it was this, which is paper covering this. I nearly cried. This is such a gift. Oh my gosh. It is The World of Laura Ashley, Spring 1994. It's a catalog of Laura Ashley fashion. And not just fashion, but home goods and just children's stuff. And look. Oh. And there was just a little Post-it note that says, saw this and thought you might like it. Andrea Ryan. Well, I think you were right, Andrea. I'm really so overwhelmed. I mean, this is just, I just couldn't believe it. I still can't. This is absolute gold treasure to me. Thank you so much for thinking of me. Wow. I just couldn't get over it. I still can't get over it. It's just, all I want to do is sit and look at it and pour over it. And yeah, anyway, okay. Let's get it together, Jen. Get it together. Okay, so the question for this week is, with the advent of school starting, at least here in the US, have you ever made a first day of school outfit? Or did your mom make it for you? Or did someone in your family make it for you? Or did you make it for yourself? Well, as a mom myself, I absolutely made first day of school dresses for my girls. And I have one here. This is the Froggy dress. And it's just the very basic little puff sleeve dress with a gathered skirt. I did put piping in, and I did a contrast cuff here and on the border of the hem. It has a little zipper up the back that doesn't really match. And this fabric was designed by KP Kids, and I don't think that they're around anymore, but if you can get your hands on some of this fabric, it's like quilting cotton these days that is just really nice fabric, and it's a cute design, and you know. So I don't know what the name of it was, but anyway, that was a first day of school dress for one of my munchkins, who now has a munchkin. So let me leave you this week with a prayer card, of course. Thank you, Robyn, from Robyn's Love of Sewing, who told me about these, and they have just really changed the way I like to end my videos. You know, I love to share these little gems with you. This one's from Psalm 68:20, and it says, "Our God is a God who saves." When I think about this, I think our God is a God who saves. He saved the woman who nearly crashed into my house after she passed out. He saved me. By the fact that she didn't crash into the house, he saves us every day with the redeeming love of our Savior, Jesus. He's a God who saves. Whatever trouble you're in or whatever thing you need to be saved from, he can do it. I will see you next time. Have a great weekend, and thank you so much for watching.